Happy Tuesday night to you folks. Welcome to the Heroes Media Group Podcast Network. It's time for the TPO Doc Talk. It's me, Gene. What's happening, y'all? First and foremost, just to be aware, we are not live tonight. This is a pre-recorded interview that we are doing. I am traveling right now. As you are watching this, I'm traveling down to Texas for Heroes on the Water. We got some cool stuff. We're going to go down there and get some training to make us even more effective and bring even more healing up here to the Denver area. But we got to go down to Texas and get some of that training taken care of. And so that's where I'm at right now. Meanwhile, I've got an awesome, cool guest showing up here for us. We are, as you know, we're part of Team Nucanoe. And, you know, one of the coolest things we talk about constantly as we meet people out there is the awesome and just, you know, just the humanitarian side, just good people that we run into in the kayak community. And it's ever present in the Team Nucanoe, the anglers that I've had a chance to rub shoulders with, meet, get to know. It's one of the things we're very, very proud of being, a part of Nucanoe with that is that the teammates that we have out there. And so we're going to be going down through over the course of the next few weeks here. And we're going to be doing some interviews to introduce you to some of these guys here. The guy we have tonight, he's coming out of Texas for us down here. He's no stranger to the brand whatsoever, Mr. Jeremy Baker. He's in the green room right now, so we'll be bringing him in a minute. As always, let's pay the bills here real quick. This podcast brought to you by the Romans Warrior Foundation, as are all of our shows here for this entire season. Romans Warrior Foundation, helping is healing. Go check them out at romanswarriorfoundation.org. Check out all the cool different divisions that we have. Of course, we have the Global War on Terror's Wall of Remembrance. Check that out. We have our little division that we lead up there. That's the Field Ops division that partners with the TPO for the kayak and camping trips that we do for our nation's warfighters. The Stop 22, Hoosiers with Hearts, Heroes, or Hoosiers with Hearts Disaster Relief Team. Check it out, Romans Warrior Foundation. If you find it within there, there's a donate button there. At the very least, give a subscribe and a follow. Those are some big ways that you can really help Romans Warrior Foundation for sure. All right, so the bills are paid. We got the Heroes Media Group here. This is technically, this is going to be the first episode of 2025 for us. So it's an awesome deal that we have here. Let's go ahead and bring him in from Team Nucanoe, Mr. Jeremy Baker. And as soon as I get this screen right, there it is, almost. I'm still looking. There it is. I always have to click through these things, man, to find the right one. What's happening, good. Jeremy?
How's it going?
Good, brother. What's it like down there in Texas right now, weather-wise? What are you looking at?
Has about 56 today, I think. Low was about 35, somewhere in there. So not next week is supposed to get pretty bad with the that polar storm or whatever moving through. So we'll get down to like 26 next Thursday.
It's about the same up here. So our weather is almost identical. That's wild. You guys don't get snow down where you're at, though, do you?
Every now and then.
Every now and again?
Every now and then. We got something last year, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I know we did because I was fishing Martin Creek in January, so I know we did.
That's awesome. Now, the water temps down there, how low do they dip on an average year for you guys, the water temps on the lakes and such?
So we have power plant lakes around here. So those stay, further like how we went fishing and it was like almost 70-degree water temp yesterday.
Dog, nice.
But yeah, the normal lakes that you have that don't have the power plant connected to it, they'll get down to like, I don't know, a little less than 50, 40 sometimes.
Wow.
Just kind of depends on kind of how the weather's going, how much sun we get, normal kind of variations in it.
And what town are you located in down there?
I'm actually living in White Oak, Texas. It's close to Longview, Texas.
Awesome.
So we're like northeast Texas.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you're pretty close to the Oklahoma side of things and all that area up through there. Yeah, so that makes sense on the weather. But you can still fish pretty much 12 months out of the year, though, right?
I do.
Nice.
Yeah, we fish year round.
We're heading out this Saturday. We're going to head out. Group of us are going to head out and just go splash around on pretty much the one reservoir we have in the entire state, which is Pueblo Res. The others, they close them off. They shut them down. They don't let paddlecraft or boats or anything get on them, and most of them. So Pueblo stays open, and it rarely ever freezes over. I mean, you might get a little ice back in some of the fingers in the coves, but not much to speak about. Main thing down there is just the wind. We got to watch the wind down there quite a bit. But that's our. But you gotta thank goodness I got Blackfish gear, man, because I'll have my ice suit on when I head out this Saturday.
Oh, I'm glad.
Because we'll be ready. We'll be ready for the rain or anything else it wants to throw at us for sure.
See, it's like it gets cold down here and we're all freezing. You come over to fish with the All-American on Pines 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We were all freezing. You guys were all like, "Oh, this is normal weather. It ain't no big deal."
Dude, that was nice. Yeah. I thought you and I had actually met once before. Yeah, and I remember that because you were at Lake of the Pines. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, we actually ran the Northeast Texas kayak trail that we kind of ran in conjunction with you guys.
Yeah. That was such a cool deal. I had a motor blowout on me there. Actually, I thought it was the motor. Turned out it was the remote. And I learned a hard lesson about XI3s that when your remote freezes, it locks the whole motor. So you got to get it away. Yeah. So carry a spare remote with you. Yeah, I paddled back. If you remember day 2, they had that MLF college event or whatever, high school or something like that event was going on. Yeah. Dude, the boat traffic north of that bridge was just insane there. Yeah, I had to paddle my unlimited back about 1.5 miles to get back to the ramp. And I was not in great shape back then either. So that was against that wind, it was like, ugh.
What's funny is that lake, that 155 bridge, everything north is usually pretty heavy hit. I mean, it's got a lot of, structure and grass and channels and creeks and ditches and all kinds of stuff to fish up there. So a lot of people go up there because it's a lot more cover and things like that. Yeah.
I was south of it for day 1 and did not really put up what I thought. The fish that I found down there, I literally had no intention of hitting the fish that I did. All of a sudden I started finding bedfish down there. And I'm like, what in the heck am I, how am I hitting these guys? But I hit a couple really depleted females, you could tell, because they were super long and just nothing, no weight to them whatsoever. On spinner baits of all things, just apparently ripping it right across their beds that I didn't even know was there. All the stuff that I had marked in practice was not there. And so it was like,
happens every time.
Yeah. Day 2, I decided I'm going north. I'll get into the stuff that I'm used to, which is grass and ledges and such, and I'll settle up there. And then, the motor issue. But what a cool lake. I really like that lake. The people around there are super friendly and pretty cool deal. Oh, yeah. So let's talk Nucanoe, brother. That's you have been with Team Nucanoe now for how long? How long have you been with the brand?
Since last year. So I joined, I think it was March.
Nice.
Maybe of last year.
Very cool. Very cool. And how long have you had an unlimited?
Since I started that. I got that in, I believe, January, February.
Oh, so you were
just a little farther back. But I switched out of a Jackson NAR, which I had some problems and issues with it, and was looking for something with some open deck space, because I'm a little bit bigger of a guy, I guess, 6 foot, 250. I want some space and leg room, and so I looked at it and had some friends tell me, like, this boat is super spacious. The weight rating's plenty big enough for you. And I come from the bass boat side, so I carry everything in the kitchen sink with me when I go fishing.
Amen.
And they said it's plenty enough to haul everything you need. And I took it out and it was like, this is my new boat. And I've had it since and went through and put all the decking kit in it, installed the NK300 on it. I've got Eagle Eye 9 on it now since those came out. So it's fishing setup for sure.
That is awesome, and I too came from the bass boat side of things, and yeah, the very first thing I was looking for was stability, and that's what led me right to the unlimited, man. And I was able from the get go, I could stand up in the thing and pitch and flip, where I needed to.
So I did a test with it when I first got it out. They were talking about how stable it was, so I'm like, all right, cool. I got enough space here, so I stood up and I kind of jumped in it. Just a little hop to see because I see people standing on the seats, and I'm not doing that because, I'm not coordinated enough to do stuff like that. But, I got out and I kind of jumped on it. I was like, oh, that didn't hardly move at all. So I jumped a little higher and I was like, all right, well, I like this thing. And I have yet to, knock on wood, flip it over. But it's super stable. I have no problems, even with the seat and high, reaching over and, picking fish up out of the water or rinsing my hands off. And the swivel seat, I turn sideways sometimes and just kick my feet over the side while I'm fishing, and let them, when it's really hot down here, it cools you off. So it's that boat's been real good to me, and if I ever have any issues with it, I'll probably just continue to keep getting unlimiteds.
I tell people all the time, you'll fall out of this thing before you ever flip it. You'll fall out, way before that. Because these things, you got to really work to try to flip one of those boats. I've sat on the side of mine, with my legs dangling in the water just to see. And at that time, I was a solid 250 myself at that time, and it just sits in the water like so. But it's that secondary stability that thing has is just unmatched. It is super cool.
Yeah, it's a great boat. I recommend it to everybody. Because you always get those guys like, I'm a big guy. And I don't know, I want to get into kayak, but I'm scared I'm too big. And I'm like, look, I promise you're not going to flip this boat. You'll fall out before the boat flips over. So
yep,
it's a great all-around boat, too. It's good. And, the way the hull's designed is great on rivers. It's easy to paddle if you make sure you set the seat right and use the right paddle. You see people sometimes they get the paddle that's a little too short and they're kind of fighting themselves.
Yeah.
The sides are angled like that for a reason, so that when you have your paddle stroke, you're not rubbing the flat side of a boat. You've got plenty of clearance to move and paddle yourself through there. So I've done it plenty of times and pulled myself through matted grass in it. That boat looked phenomenal to me.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's the 360 Fusion seat has been something that, quite frankly, was one of the biggest things for me. That ability to be able to maneuver around, because as you can attest, when you're a bigger dude, man, that midsection don't bend like some of them skinny little jockey dudes. So being able to turn that seat to get to your gear and such was invaluable. Now, what I think is really cool is now all of a sudden you're seeing these other companies starting to follow the lead of Nucanoe. They're starting to put these swivel seats on, and it's like, that's we've known that for years, man. That's that's been something that we've absolutely.
The first time I ever saw a Nucanoe, it was with Adam Harbuck. I don't know if you know who that is, but name. We went out fishing one time, and he was in, I think it was like a Frontier maybe, and he had the seat, had it all set up, and I was like, that's kind of cool. And at the time, I think I had a Hobie PA-12, and those seats are comfortable, but, turning and moving in them, you're going to get poked in the ribs and from the chair. But that 360 seat, I saw guys where they were in the, channels and fast-moving current. They would anchor down with the front and spin the seat around and fish out of the back of the boat.
Yep.
And not even have to worry about it. I was like, that's pretty neat.
Yeah. Pretty slick. One of the things about that seat too that I've noticed. So my whole life I've dealt with low back stuff. It gets stupid every now and again if I'm sitting too long or whatever. But I got to tell you, man, I've been out in that unlimited for 8 to 12 hours, and I have no cushion. I have no nothing. And dude, the only thing that hurts after I'm out that long is my knees. If I forget to stand up enough, it's like I just got to straighten the knees out type thing. But I've not had a single back issue sitting in our seats, man. They have they breathe well. They're super comfy. There's no bar or anything hitting you in a goofy spot or whatever.
No.
And so, yeah, that's those Fusion.
Yeah, they've got
that.
The back seat kind of arcs back like that, so that when you're sitting, you're not running into that bar, so it's not pressed up against you all day, and you can
adjust
back or straight up or however you want to sit and posture wise.
I was gonna say it's got a good adjustment on it too.
That little clip on the side of the seat, I've unclipped and laid it back so I could go underneath bridges and stuff.
That's awesome. I always forget the rod thing. I got my buddy Joshua Deal was showing he's got these rod holders for his black pack that will kick to the side now. I need to look into that because I like the last two times I've been up at Okoboji, I'm sneaking underneath and I'm thinking I got it. I actually on one day, it was raining all day, but I went under, no problem. First thing in the morning, coming back, the water had come up just enough. So when I come back down through, 2-3 rod tips start hitting. I'm just like, oh no.
Yeah.
Guess what I'm doing back at the hotel?
You talking about those rod tips or the rod tilts? I need to look at that. I've got a 13x16 black pack and a 16x16 black pack behind my seat.
You do?
Yeah. So I don't know if it'll adjust and tilt back or not. I'm not sure if it'll do that.
I need to take a look at your setup because I've actually been considering for this coming season. We're going to be getting finally. I've run 3 seasons with this one boat that I have, and I'm actually going to retire it from me, put it into the TPO inventory so the guys and gals can take it out. I'll be getting a new one myself, and I was considering doing that. 2 black packs there. One of them I wanted to turn into a battery box, like a power center. Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I need to take a look at your setup for sure.
So I put my motor, the 16x16 is right behind the seat, and I can put my Newport 36 40 amp hour battery in the front of it, and I got 3700s beside it. And then I got the short stack on top of that I can put, just random stuff in. And then I've got the 13 or 16x13 that holds, what is it, like 8 or 9, something like that, if you lay one on top. And that's what all my 3700s are in.
And that fits perfectly on the Unlimited right behind it.
The only thing
13 that slides in.
Yeah, the only thing I figured out after putting it together is if you're using the rod tubes, I have them up so that the top hole is up as high as they'll go, just to keep them off the rails and stuff like that, so the rods still go all the way down into them.
That's awesome. Yeah, when we're done here, I'll have to see if I can look at if you got any pictures of that. I would definitely like to get some ideas on that because we've been considering hooking that up. Eventually, each one of our boats we want to get a black pack for. I want to talk to somebody at Yak Attack, but we don't have any connections there just yet. So Yak Attack, if you're watching, hey, we want to work with you, man. We've got several boats we'd like to rig out, and it's for a good cause. We'd like to do something there. So that's definitely. Actually, I was thinking of calling Blake and seeing if he knew, because I know Nucanoe, we work with him pretty close, so maybe he's got a connection to somebody we can chat with there. But that Black Pack Pro has been a serious game changer for us. It really tidies up all your gear, and like you said, I love the way that it fits in the back there. If you move the rod tubes just a little bit, it fits in perfect.
And then they've got all those special like dividers, and they're coming out with all those other things that you can add to it to make it like one of them's a pistol holder. Like I don't know if you've seen that. So it fits. You can stick it in there and hold, just in case you ever need it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
They've got that, and they've got like some dividers that go in it and things like that. They're supposedly kind of working on getting more things out for them. That's
cool. That's super cool. And you were talking about the tracks. It's one of the things about the Unlimited that I love the most is just the open platform, how you can rig this thing out, man. My first season, I had like 3 different ways that I would rig the boat depending on the body of water that I was fishing. Sometimes I wanted that electronics, right by my side, real close to the seat. Other times I wanted it in front, kind of low profile down there. I also ran the foot pedal for my XI3, so I had that sitting, right underneath by the gear pod up there as well.
I need to see that.
Yep.
I need to see how to do that.
So I'll be honest with you, the XI3 foot pedal, the spring in there is just too damn strong. So it forces you have to like put so much pressure on it to steer with it that you overcorrect. What I ended up doing is I steered with the remote, but I used the foot pedals for the anchor mode. And then yes, I could bump the switch if I wanted just to jog myself ahead a little bit, or I could just turn the whole thing on and off just with the other button. But mainly it was after I hook into a fish, my right foot just goes up and hits that anchor mode and locks me in place, with the XI3, and then I can just work on the fish in the net, and it keeps me from floating away. Yeah, it works. I'll tell you, if I was smarter, I'd figure out a way just to get Power Pole had those singular buttons.
Yeah, they still sell the Bluetooth buttons. Yeah.
If I could rig that to the frequency of the anchor mode switch and just put one of those buttons in the bottom of the unlimited, hell yeah, done and done. But I'm not that smart.
Yeah, I'm not either. I've been hitting the head too many times, so.
Right. Well, talk to me a little bit about so besides being on Team Nucanoe, what do you do for a living, man?
I am a sales for a oil field supply company here in Texas.
Okay, that seems fitting.
Oil field,
right?
Shocker, but we supply like frac companies equipment. I've sold everything from front brush guards for trucks to refrigerators and AC units, big pumps, big pump units, like all kinds of stuff. It doesn't matter. Pretty much anything I can get my hands on. If a customer asks for it, I find it and get it to them.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. I've been working there it'll be 3 years in May.
Okay.
So
good stuff.
It's been pretty cool. I used to work in the field all the time, and I was gone all the time. And this kind of makes it to where I'm home on the weekends. I get a little more, quite a bit more time with my family and kids. And, I'm a granddad now, so I get to see the grandbaby.
Wow, granddad. Good stuff. Yeah. So so between the wife and I, we have four total kids. They're all adults. We have no grandchildren yet, but I'm still I got this hang up that no, I can't be grandpa. I'm 52. So I'm coming up with other names like, Pop or Bean Pop, something like that. What do you got? I mean, are you cool with Grandpa or what?
No, so I am Bear, and my wife is Honey.
Ah, looky there.
So yeah, it's it kind of fits, you know what I mean? So it works out good.
Hey, that's better than Meemaw and Grandpa, and so yeah, I'm just not ready for that. No, maybe
it's pretty wild. I mean, my kids are grown up. My youngest is 15, and my oldest will be 20 here. What's the date? It'll be the day this comes out. He will be 20 years old.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's good watching them kind of grow up and become their own kind of adults and things like that. And I've got 2 boys and a girl. My middle one's a girl who I have the grandson with. But it's a different relationship than parent to kid as it is to parent to grandkid, because I get to do all the fun stuff. Feed them candy up and give them back. So
hell yeah.
It's a different thing, man. It's been really cool.
And you just came through, the fun time with the little ones. That's what I miss is when it comes holiday times. I miss that with the little ones. Mm-hmm. Adult kids, it's socks or gift cards. I mean, that's pretty much that's all you can come up with, right? And they're not as fun. There's not as much magic involved there. With the little ones, you can definitely that's a lot more fun.
Yeah, we've got some pretty funny stories when the kids were little and they get a Christmas present. Like, it's what I always wanted, and what is it? I don't know. It's pretty funny. It's pretty cool going through those times, and it's as any parent does. You have your ups and downs with your kids, and it's just part of the process. But in the end, you just kind of hope that you did what you could to make sure that they're good people and continue to keep growing as a person and succeed in the things that they want to succeed in. So
I mean, that's pretty much it, right? It's the healthy, the happy, and let them cut their own way, and that's it gets there.
Yep.
So we have any future bass anglers in the group of kids there? Do any of them like to go fishing with Dad, or?
My boys know. My daughter probably went with me more than my boys did. And actually like just went fishing. My boys would be out there roughhousing and doing backflips off kayaks and stuff like that. But my little one, I've got a deal. I think I posted on the Nucanoe team page. My little one's sitting in an unlimited I was rigging out, and he didn't want to get out. We went and picked him up, and he started going nuts. He's like, "No, I want to stay out there and play in the boat." So maybe I can convince him, get him a little life jacket and get him out there catching some small brim or something like that to begin with.
Yeah.
We'll see how that works.
That's awesome. They got that buddy seat that looks pretty slick that you can slide in there too, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, mine were when they were young. My daughter, she loved to fish when she was little. I think she enjoyed the time that she got to spend with Dad, because I spent so much damn time out there.
Yeah.
She knew that was a good time to spend, and we'd have a ton of fun. But my son, he was really getting into it, and then girls, and that just derailed him right there. It's just like I couldn't get the phone out of his hand anymore to put a fishing rod in it. But he still keeps beating on me. He's like, "Hey, when are we going?" So I'm going to get him out and get him out in a kayak.
Kind of what happened to my boys. They kind of fell into high school and things like that. My oldest is actually married. His wife's in the Navy. He's actually in basic right now for the Navy in Chicago. He'll graduate.
Outstanding.
On like the 30th, we'll be up there to go see him graduate.
Congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, he'll be a communications specialist on a submarine.
Okay.
Is what his MOS will be, so.
That's sub duty. That's something.
Yeah, that's what I said. And he's taller than me. Like he's like probably 6'2".
Wow.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he does. All that.
He's going to be crammed in those racks, man, for sure.
He's like the guy, the scopers with the back problems that are always looking straight down at the dashboard all the time. That's what he'll look like. So, but he's excited. He's nervous about it, but he's excited. His wife and him, she's stationed in Lemoore in California. So she's still there, and then he's in basic, and then he goes to Connecticut, Massachusetts, maybe.
Okay.
For his training, for the submarine training. And that part's just a year long. So he'll have another training part he'll have to do after that, and before he actually gets in subs and is on deployments and things like that. So, but it's kind of exciting because I'm prior military. It's good to see, him take that oath and take it seriously. He's been doing pretty good from what we can tell. Basic's basic, and everybody knows it's not the easiest thing in the world, but I think he's doing pretty good.
And what branch you serve in, Jeremy? I
was in the Air Force.
Air Force, outstanding.
Yeah, I was a vehicle operator.
Thank you for your service, brother. We appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
That's it's at the heart of why this podcast exists, is our nonprofit that is dedicated to taking care of our nation's warfighters like yourself and families, and introducing them to the sport you and I love, and showing them the powers that the outdoors and Mother Nature, what it has and what it can do for folks, man. It is real. It's, we got science getting behind it now. The VA spending money on it. That's the division I'm a part of with the Heroes on the Water, is the VA work. We work directly with the Denver VA here. And it's a new division with Heroes on the Water that we're trying to expand. I'm going to be trying to take it north and south of Denver here and open a few more divisions with it. So yeah, it's awesome stuff.
Myself and Jamie Broad run the Heroes on the Water chapter East Texas.
That is awesome, man.
And when I got out of the military, Jamie actually put me in a kayak after I got out. And that's kind of what started this whole kayak thing. I was like, it's a different feeling than just being in a boat. I always loved to fish,
right.
But it's different. It's a different feel. It's more of a one-on-one with kind of the peace and nature, and it feels a lot different. I kind of call it my church, because no matter what's going on, And even in tournaments, I may look all crazy and spin out on tournaments or whatever, like everybody does, but it's still a relaxing peace that comes with it.
Yeah.
And I've been able to share that with some people, along the way. And then we took over the Heroes on the Water last year, and seeing some events that we've done is it's been pretty cool to see just in person.
That is awesome, man. Yeah, serving those that serve, it definitely has, the moments that show up when you see it. I had one cool thing we had last year with Heroes. We were working with visually impaired. A group came out. They each had a staff member or two with them.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, I'm telling you, that was the most amazing day of watching these folks prepping them, getting them ready, getting them in kayaks, and getting them out on the water. We had a guy who has no vision whatsoever. Actually, at the end of the day, with the help of two staff members, he stood up on one of those Diablos that we had there.
Oh, nice.
And as people across that entire park, all they could hear is, "This is awesome," and "This feels amazing," because he kept saying that over and over, nice and loud. And his arms were out, and he was standing up on that thing, and he did not want to come down. It was so cool.
So we had something similar. We had a couple of guys come out from a local, veteran help area, and one of the guys, he was a ranger, and he had had some issues and been through some stuff and was battling his own stuff, and super nice guy, like super nice. And he's like, I've never even been in a boat.
Oh, wow.
I was like, whoa, okay, well, this is how you paddle. So we put him in a boat, and he's paddling around, he's learning how to move, and he's kind of sliding it sideways in the water like he's racing people, he's having fun. And we come back for lunch, and he's like, he pulls me to the side, he goes, "Hey, I think I want to fish." I was like, okay, well, let's get you set up. I showed him how to, they were just using worms and little hooks and things like that, nothing really crazy. So, he put it on, he takes off. And about, I don't know, probably 30, 45 minutes later, he's coming back, and I can hear him hollering. And I'm thinking, oh, no, he got a hook stuck in himself. And he's hooting, he's hollering, and he's coming, and he's paddling, and he gets close enough, like, what's wrong? Did you get a hook in you? He goes, "No, I caught a big fish, and I don't know how to get it off." So he paddles all the way to the bank, and he pulls his line up, and it's a catfish that's like probably 3 pounds.
Oh, wow.
He's like, "I don't know how to get it off." And I was like, "Oh, come here." He brought it up there. I showed him, and we got pictures with him holding it and stuff like that. And we told him before he went out, because he's never fished, he'd never been in the boat, he was going to catch the biggest fish of the day. Always happens every time. Doesn't matter where we're at.
That's awesome.
Always happens. And that dude, sure enough. And we've heard from that group and those guys so many times about coming back out and bringing the boats out, letting them go and have fun. And some we have set up for next year to do it a couple of times with those guys. So
that's so cool, man.
It's a different feeling when you see the joy on somebody who has been through, the kind of stuff that we've all been through and the pain, and you see that it's a different world. Like it just, it's like it feels amazing to help people like that.
It was a humbling experience. Warrior Bonfire Program was the first organization that I volunteered with back in my bass boat days, and I got the opportunity and the honor to spend 3-4 days with 6 Purple Heart recipients in Vienna, Missouri, at a private lake and lodge there. And we spent there, and all I did was share my passion for bass fishing with these warriors, and them letting me in their circle and conversing with them through the weekend. It changed everything for us. And because of that trip is why I'm here today doing this, no longer in a bass boat, in kayaks, and working with Heroes on the Water, founder of my TPO, working with the Romans Warrior Foundation. It changed everything for me when I realized that just sharing something I love, seeing what it did for them, and being able to spread that. Are you kidding me? Flush the bag of opioids. If we don't need that, then we don't need it. Let's connect brothers and sisters together, man, and remind them that there's civilians like myself out there that are damn thankful for you guys, and it's my job to remind you that there's a lot more of us out here too,
Well, and I think too, like me personally, if you take that aspect of just being decent people to people, right? The whole everything changes, not just with, with Heroes on the Water or, TPO or anything like that. Just treat people kindly. If somebody needs them a hand, help them out.
Hell yeah.
The world seems to move a lot better that way. And you don't see all these things that's been going on. And, I live in a small town and everybody kind of helps everybody for the most part. And we don't have, we've got a police force of I don't know, 5 people as far as I know. And I think I only know one of the officers. So, it's like.
That's usually a good thing.
Yeah, right? So it's, yeah, back in my other days.
Right?
Might be a little different, but no,
I knew all of them.
Yeah, nowadays it's not quite like that. So it's I think just being nice to people is something that everybody should learn to do. Especially, I'm not gonna name any names, but I there was a guy was looking for just something small, right? I had it, I wasn't using it, so I shipped it to him, no problems. Let him, that way it'd help him out. And one of the things I learned through all of this from the beginning of kayak fishing is kayak anglers will help other kayak anglers with
absolutely
anything. And it's one of those deals where I came from the boat side where the tournaments, everybody's like, oh, get away from my spot and I'll do that. Man, I went fishing yesterday and all of us were like, hey, come catch them. That's what we were doing. Yep. There were 4 of us out there and all of us caught over 40 fish.
I don't know if you caught last week's episode. It was on New Year's Eve, but I brought in, I had a ton of the team guys coming in, some guests and friends, and that was one of the topics we talked about, man, was just the fact that the kayaking community, angling community is just different, man, and it's
yeah.
If you find a tool bag or an a-hole in the group, they're the odd ones, right? It's like, right. I'm sure they're out there. I'm sure they're in our mix, but you just don't see them as often. It's, where it felt the opposite of that really in the other side of things back when I competed there. Here, these are just good people.
You talk about those kind of bad eggs.
Yeah.
They're far and few between, but people see that stuff negative more than they see the positive, unfortunately.
Right.
So, there's a lot of things going on and there's a lot of drama sometimes in our community, and it is what it is. Everybody's competitive and there's things that come up that people may not agree with because everybody's people. Everybody's got their own idea. But the thing is, just still be decent to people. Don't really go off on people just because they think something is a little different than you do. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think it makes a huge difference in our community.
Well, and that sentiment's brought through Team Nucanoe, man. The people that I've come in contact with here have been super, super helpful. That are, really working with each other. And one of the biggest things that I love so much about Blake and his philosophy with Nucanoe and Brian, when they went to us as team members and said, we want to focus on our dealers, right? We want to give them as much support as we can. And if you look out there, you will see we are not in the big box stores. And that's by design. We work with the mom and pop shops around the country. I think one of our bigger ones is probably like Eco Fishing Shop maybe, but that's still, if you go in there, you're taking care of your family at Eco. They do a good job of, just because they're bigger doesn't mean they let loose of service. So that is right at the heart. And you get to work with an awesome one that got started up with Nucanoe last year. And you're working with those guys. And that's the Hook and Arrow Fish, right? Mm-hmm. Talk to us a little bit about those guys. What's the deal about that? Super great people.
Jeff and Josh, I talk to pretty much on a daily basis. One of them at least. They're about community for the whole area, and even bigger. They put on these smaller tournaments, and they're probably going to get a little bigger because of the way they do them. But they're specialty tournaments, so they're you only get one rod, and they provide the rod. So last year it was a giant Zebco catfish rod,
nice
for bass with. And there's a frog only tournament on the Caddo Lake, and then it's kind of a team event type deal. They do all these things to boost community, so they want as many people to join the community, and they say it all the time. So tournaments are cool and fishing's cool, but it's about getting people together that want to have fun. That's the basis for their whole setup. And I come from a side who's a little different because I come from tournament bass boats and then now tournaments and kayaks, and I'm like, competition. And they're like,
right.
Reel it in a little bit. We're working on it. And it's cool. It's definitely kind of changed my outlook on all of it. They're
That's cool.
super knowledgeable. Like sometimes they'll tell me stuff and I didn't, I'd be like, oh, I didn't know it even did that. They're like, yeah, they walk customers through. They check on their customers to make sure that they're satisfied when they get their boats. They'll bend over backwards to help people get to what they want to reach. Whatever goal that may be with a kayak or fishing or camping and hunting, and they've got all kinds of stuff. They got like crossbows in there, air rifles, which is nuts looking, by the way, because they all look like real weapons.
Right.
Tackle. They've got batteries. Motors, every accessory you could think of for kayaks, they pretty much carry or can get. They care about their customer enough that if you have a lure or a tackle, bait, whatever, and they don't have it, and you talk to them, they'll work on getting it for you to make sure that awesome. You had it. And then they'll do it for anybody. It's not just me because I'm I work with them. It's literally anybody that walks in the door. If they're looking for something in particular, they'll work on getting it for them.
And that's who you want to surround yourself with, right? Is, surround yourself with good people and good things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Are they, now is Nucanoe the only kayak they carry right now?
No. So they have Nucanoe, Hoodoo, and a Crescent. They also have Crescent. So
nice.
They have those three. And they wanted to try to cover all bases. They've got, you can go extreme build, kind of like our boats, like we're fully rigged out, motors and stuff, all the way down to something small like beginners, and you can paddle. You don't have to have a motor, lightweight, stuff like that. That's kind of what they were looking for on that side of it too. So
that's cool.
I think they cover the whole spectrum of kayak fishing.
Well, and they're clearly by those brands too. They're price conscious too. Is they're not trying to break the bank for people that want to get them into the sport, mm-hmm. and not require a financed loan to get into it, right?
And they'll also do custom rigging for you. Like I'm the one who does the rigging. That's why I know that. So when they get a boat in, if you get a boat that needs to be rigged out with motor lights or whatever, they let me know what it is. I bring it over, get it all decked out exactly how you want it, and you're good to roll. That is
awesome, man. And it's that relationship of folks working, with Nucanoes. They get a chance to work with people that give a crap about them, give a crap about the products. And when they surround themselves with companies that stand behind like Nucanoe does, mm-hmm. Their customer service has been, not for nothing. When we were making the swap over in our manufacturing, there was some steps, mm-hmm. A couple bumps in the road we had, but the thing I loved about it was that they made it right. I mean, there was never a runaway. There was a, dang, that sucks. Okay, well then let's make this right for you. Right. And that's, to me, that's as long as the dealer, supports that and get behind that, that's strong stuff. And that's
seeing
good
that's
recipe.
Part of that, treating people nice and respectfully, I think they carry that on their brand as well as, if you have an issue with any boat, you reach out to customer care, tell them what's going on, and they'll figure it out, make it right. Those guys are good at doing that. And since I've been with them, I've seen it a little more than probably what I thought. Not that there's a lot of things that go wrong, but I have seen where customers were like saying, the big wheel came out when I pulled it, so they tried to fix it. Or something small like the hatch on the gear pod or something's not quite right. They just fix it for them. You know what I mean? If they don't nitpick little small stuff, and I've had to deal with that nitpick type stuff from other companies before. And I was really glad to see that Nucanoe stood behind their products the way they do.
Well, it's the difference. Do you want to have a customer a long time, or just get the money quickly and be done with it? How do you want to do that? And that's, I'll be honest. I just can't see. I have connections now, and I have many of my team members that are on the TPO team that are with some great companies and great kayak mm-hmm. organizations. And, so the opportunity exists, right, for us to look in these other directions. But I got to be honest with you, I just don't see a reason why. I have an American-made boat that is a veteran-owned organization mm-hmm. that is a top quality product that, to me, is one of the most complete fishing machines that's available out there. It is the best of all worlds to me that Unlimited is. I've got a U10 as well, and that is a cool little boat too. I mean, that's a fun little craft to boogie around on.
Absolutely. And all the stuff I've seen in comparison, so I have the 12, the Unlimited, and then the U10, it does pretty much everything that 12 does.
Just with a little less space, that's all.
A little less space. I mean, if you're fishing small bodies of water, that's a perfect boat to get exactly what you want, because you can still put a motor on it if you need one. Super easy to paddle, still holds whatever you want to carry on it. Very maneuverable. So I don't see, I haven't found really a flaw in my boat or any of those U10s that I've seen.
Yeah, the U10 it's got the same booty, the same nose on it. It's just the torso's a little bit crunched up. That's all.
Yep.
For me, with my legs, like, dudes our size, I do prefer the Unlimited, just because I like having that space and stretching my legs out type thing. We're going to retrofit our U10 to, I say retrofit, there's just a couple little things you have to do to get the pivot drive in that. And so we're going to be, all of our Unlimiteds will be motorized when we take people out, but the U10 will have the pedal drive in that. So we'll be able to pedal or paddle that one.
That'd be cool.
We'll have that on hand, but otherwise we'll have three Unlimiteds, with 2 with Newports and 1 with an XI3 on it. So
yeah, I'm thinking about putting the XI3 on my Unlimited.
Well,
I've got
it in Coda now.
Yeah, I know. And the only reason is because I've started using that forward-facing stuff, the cheat box.
Yep.
So I realized I can still do it without it. It's just super difficult because I'm constantly kind of moving by the wind or current or whatever. And I think having something that would hold me still like that without having to winch and anchor up or whatever all the time would make it more, easier to take care of and do that stuff with.
For us, so I had Live Scope, sold it, and now we're looking at things real close, thinking of getting it back. Mainly, to be honest with you, it's for the guiding aspect, because when we take people out on the waters that we have out here in Colorado, we don't have a lot of grass, okay? Little to no weeds. Very few places where you can find weeds or wood. So our stuff is a lot of open water, structure, rock, ledges, contours.
Right.
And not for nothing, when I go out with the team guys, they're able to find these wolf packs of smallies and such running around, where I got to run right over top of them if I don't have that. And it's, for us, when we take people out, there's something to be said for the fact that I want to get these folks on fish quick. It's not about me fishing out there. So, because quite honestly, in a tournament setting, I'm a skinny water guy, man. I would rather run a square bill down 100 yards of shore than spend 10 minutes staring at a screen looking out in open water. I just would rather not do that. That's just not me.
So I got the new Lowrance Eagle i9, which it's for $1,000, man. I mean, it's hard to beat that. It's not quite as open as your typical, full forward-facing sonar stuff, because it's only got basically one row of beams on it. So the window's a little bit more narrow than what you would have typically on forward-facing sonar. But even with that, it's one of those deals where I never did it before, and I picked it up because I wanted to try to see if it was really worth it. I didn't break the bank doing it. But I still nothing beats throwing a topwater down a bank line or a buzzbait, or what I mean?
Hell yeah.
But now I have that option that if it is in a tournament, those fish are isolated out by themselves. I can move out and find those fish if I need to.
Yep.
So it's like a complete deal. You want to be, versatile in both of them. You want to be able to go out deep and see fish, but you also want to not forget where you came from beating the bank, because all of us have caught those big fish off the bank. Yeah. Especially right now, we've got fish are starting to kind of spawn on these hot water lakes. So, you want to keep doing that. It's a fun time,
Hell yeah. Yeah. For me on the tournament side, the one thing that I will use forward facing for is just to keep me more efficient. When I come across a brush pile, I won't have to burn it down for 20 minutes to discover that there's no more fish in there. You know what I mean? I'll be a little bit more efficient, and that's probably what I'll use it for. I've got a kind of a cool way of what we're thinking of doing with this. We've got a new Nucanoe dealer that's going to be popping up down in Fountain here, Militia Marine. That's also a veteran-owned dealership down here. Yeah. And so we're excited to work with them. We got some cool ideas on how we're going to rig this out. They're a huge Garmin group. I currently run Lowrance also right now. I don't have the Eagle Eye, but yeah, so we'll be probably going back to Garmin on some cool ideas on the rigging setup. We'll be sharing that coming up probably in the next, 2-3 months. We'll see when we pull the trigger on that. But yeah, it's cool to have the stuff and be able to use it. It doesn't mean you have to, live on it type thing. So,
right.
And see, right now,
I have that Eagle Eye 9 on one side, and then I have a Helix 7 on the other side. So
oh, nice.
I use mapping and stuff on my Humminbird and side imaging and things like that. And in the Lowrance, I have the option for like straight down scan or forward facing sonar. So it's just kind of covering all aspects. I mean, like you said, you don't want to spend, a whole lot of time on a brush pile that doesn't have any fish in it.
Yep.
And, you're fishing a tournament. The less time you take missing things,
time's money,
the better you are to, take home that check. So
yes, sir.
That's kind of what my thought process was on it anyway.
Yep. True. Good stuff. Well, listen, man, we sincerely appreciate you coming on here and sharing some philosophy there and introducing yourself. I am excited to get another chance to when I get down to Texas down there. I'll definitely be hitting you up and looking to see if we can get something going down there, especially with the Heroes on the Water connection and with the TPO and Romans Warrior Foundation. We've got a lot of good support coming in early here for us. So we're looking. What we want to start doing is some destination like bucket list, and what better than take a guy or gal from a place that maybe doesn't have the greatest bass fishing and take them to like one of the bass meccas of the United States, which is Texas. To me, that's a bucket list deal. If we could do a road trip, and get them down there and spend 2-3 days and what memories, memories we could do.
Fork, Rayburn, Salida Bend, Caddo, Pines, which you've seen. OH-Ivy, I think, is a little bit far of a drive for us here. But, we've got 4 powerhouse lakes, basically, for one way or the other, within an hour from where I live. So it's a little different living where I am. So if I go somewhere else to another state, I'm a little spoiled because we grow them a little big down here.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's good times though.
We are not a destination location for bass fishing out here in Colorado. That much is certain. If you get into the thinking man's fishing of fly fishing, they've got apparently options galore up in the mountains for you here. That's just not my thing. I'm pretty sure there's a court order somewhere that says I'm not allowed to have a fly rod in my hands just for public safety alone, So,
be out there just to make it pop.
Exactly. So man, it's one of those things that the more connections we get with teammates and such around, that gives us places where we can go and have somebody that knows the area that can help us, put the logistics together with this and ties us in with the local dealer too. That's always a good thing.
Absolutely.
A lot of times they can help supply a boat or two for us, so that we can put our guest in that. That makes it easier for us to get on scene if we don't have to bring the trailer, with us. Because my goodness, does that trailer cut our gas mileage like literally in half. So
yes, even just a small aluminum trailer, you'd be surprised how much it winds up taking some fuel from you. We've
got the TPO uses the trailer. We have a 7x16 enclosed cargo. So I go from about 17, 18 down to 8 or 9. That's pretty much what I pull in fuel mileage. And I just got a little half ton, man, with a little 305 in it, so it's like she's a sweating and a huffing and a puffing as I run down the road with that thing.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, Mr. Baker, we appreciate you, man. And this, again, to show you just what kind of a crappy journalist that because I got a lot of degrees, but journalism was never one of them, all right? I did not go to school for that, but I had no idea you were a vet. when we were connecting. So this makes it even better, brother. That is so cool. And it's weird how the sport, there's so many of you guys that are involved in this sport, man.
There's a ton, which speaks volumes for what it actually does for people who have, some demons or issues, however you want to call it. You know what I mean? I think that's all the research we need. We don't need the scientists to tell us. We see it firsthand every day.
I was going to say, we know it. We know and that's what I always try to, was like, look, I want to give you an addiction, all right, but I want you to spend ridiculous money on tackle and, and gear, just like we do, I want to get you in trouble with the wife.
Right.
Well, listen, man, we appreciate you. And as things are going on and as the heroes work or anything else you got going, hit me up, man. We'd love to have you back on the show and chat about anything from there. Well, good stuff. All right, man. So just hang around for me after we close this thing out, and you and I will chat after the D here. So appreciate you, Jeremy. Thanks a lot, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for this edition of the TPO Doc Talk podcast. As usual, please make sure, get out, check out Romans Warrior Foundation. They're making all this possible for us here. And for us, for the TPO, if you like the mission that we're on, if you believe in what we're doing here, you want to find a way to support, a subscribe on YouTube would be a huge deal. Share it with your family and friends on Facebook or whatever. Tell them to head over to YouTube, give us a subscribe, smash that button there. That will be a big, big deal for us to help us continue to reach more people and get that mission out there. As always, folks, we appreciate you. We couldn't do it without you. Thanks to everybody in Heroes Media Group land. And as always, tight lines. Be safe. Wrong one.